Tradition continues.
Pete McCordick, bowling immortality.
Is that a sight, Bo?
Within his grasp, one more strike. 1974, Jim Stefanich was the last time.
All right, here it is. Right lane.
We have it! We have it!
One of the great moments of the 1987 Professional Bowlers Tour as Pete McCordick bowled a perfect 300 game on the televised finals and took home $100,000. As Bo said, it was an accomplishment that had not been achieved since 1974. And it was here in Alameda that Jim Stefanich walked to the line during the televised finals with one strike away from perfection, though not as much money.
This is it for $10,000.
And now today, here's a live shot of Mel's South Shore Bowl, scene of the Jim Stefanich 300 in 1974. As ABC Sports presents in its 27th season, live the Professional Bowlers Tour. Today, from the San Francisco Bay Area, we bring you the $125,000 ARC Alameda Open. Let's meet today's finalists. In fifth place, trying for his first PBA championship from Wichita, Kansas, Mike Jasnow. In fourth, hailing from the Motor City and vying for his third PBA title, Harry Sullins. In third, one of the tour's more colorful players from Vancouver, Washington, the PBA's president, Ernie Schlegel. In second, hoping to repeat as PBA Player of the Year from Stockton, Walter Ray Williams, Jr. And from Waco, Texas, holder of 16 PBA titles, our tournament leader, Wayne Webb. All today on the Professional Bowlers Tour. And it's hello to all of you. Wishing you all a Happy New Year. I'm Chris Schenkel. Thank you for joining us as we begin our 27th season of the Professional Bowlers Tour, our first of 16 live Saturday afternoon telecasts when the world's most talented bowlers will go for over $3 million in prize money. We're the first part of a 1-2 ABC punch, as we have been for 27 years, and the second part has for that same number of years. ABC's Wide World of Sports follows. And family fun today with the 16th appearance in this premiere show of Wide World, the Harlem Globetrotters from West Berlin. There'll be a visit to the other side of the wall as well. So don't forget to stay tuned for Wide World, which will also include our naming of the Athlete of the Year, plus an interview with the 3 leading lady contenders for the United States national figure skating team that will be competing in Calgary, to be seen right here on ABC. So, let's bring in my colleague of 14 years, Hall of Famer, great guy, great bowler, Nelson Burton, Jr.
Thank you, Chris.
Well,
Happy New Year.
thank you, sir. You too.
And I'm sure we're going to have a great year.
It's going to be beautiful.
It's going to be a lot like last year. I think it was a banner year when Pete McCordick shot that 300 game and received a $100,000 bonus from True Value, which, by the way, they'll put up again this year. I think they'll look for a lot of action like that in 1988. Big scores, a lot of exciting matches. The great players are back. The Holman's back, Ross back, Williams is back, Albee, Weber, you name them. But there's some other new names to look for. Look for a little left-hander named Scott Devers. He really came on in 1987. He should be tough in 88. The collegiate champion, Rick Steelsmith, highly touted, has just come on the tour, looks pretty good. So 1988, a big year. How are we going to start right here at Mel's Alameda Bowl? Well, remember, Stefanich shot that 300 in 1974. Who can forget Mark Roth making the 7-10 split here in 1980? And it made the difference in the match against Bill Straub. Anything can happen here at Mel's Bowl. Chris, they're ready for action. The first shots of the 1988 season. Ready to go.
All right, Bo, and here we go to that first match in the red shirt. You're looking at him on the left from Sterling Heights, Michigan, Harry Sullins. Harry has won 2 tournaments, whereas this product of the collegiate ranks, 2-time college All-American bowler, Mike Jasnow from Wichita, Kansas. Born in Vermont, grew up in Fishkill, New York, now living in Wichita. First stroke. And unfortunately leaves a 9-pin on the left lane. Mike is 25 years old. And we had him finishing second last year at the King Louis Open. He had defeated Ernie Schlegel, who's in today's field, along with Pete Weber, and then lost to Jimmy Pritz. Our championship pair, Bo.
27 and 28, Chris, at Mel's Alameda Bowl, a 40-lane establishment.
Good job. Marking of the spare in the first frame, so the season is underway. Moving over now to Harry Sullins, 30-year-old from Sterling Heights, Michigan. Last year won $46,000. He has won his last 4 TV matches in previous tournaments, so let's see what he does with his first shot. Right lane. A 6-footer on that frame, 170 pounds, and Bo, we get a look at replay of the profile view of this lanky man from Michigan.
Harry Sullivan's 4-step delivery. He's the one power player in the telecast today. He gets low at the line, snaps that wrist through, kind of jerks his hand back a little bit, Chris, which is not a real good habit, but he's been doing very well, as you said. He learned to do a lot of his bowling at Vincennes University in an area you know, Vincennes, Indiana, Chris. Second shot.
So Harry Sullins has opened with a double and immediately jumps out to a 10-pin lead as Mike Jasnow comes up. Last year he won nearly $40,000 on the tour. So they have an opportunity now to make some money, these world's great bowlers. Justin beautiful on the right lane, getting his first strike.
Jasnow has like a 4.5-step delivery, a little stutter step, gets a good push away, medium-high arm swing, just a classic style. You can see he's well educated in that college training, that 4 years he had at Wichita State, Chris, really paying off for him out here on the Pro Bowlers Tour. He keeps getting better every year. Right now, Jasnow trails by 10, could even the match with a double.
Look at the careful preparation. Leaves the 10 after a very smooth delivery.
3-pound, 7-ounce pins that are used out here on the Professional Bowlers Tour. By the way, American Bowling Congress regulations have only a minimum weight of 3 pounds, 6 ounces, so the pros use about the same pins that the amateurs use, but if you don't hit them solid in the pocket, not very often you're going to continue to have a string. Jasnow for the spare.
So a spare strike spare for Jasnow through the first 3 frames of our first game. And if you just joined us, these are the numbers 5 and 4 finishers out of a field of 145 that started earlier in the week. Harry Sullins leading by 10. He has a double up, shooting in the 3rd frame. Slid by just a bit, leaving the 7-pin on the right lane after a double.
Harry Sullins with that power ball hits light and it drives the head pin to the sideboard. It comes across and knocks out the 4 and 5 pins, but fails to get the 7. Sullins, who uses the same ball for spares on the left side of the lane, and changes to a ball that has a much lower surface friction for spares on the right side of the lane. So an easy spare to maintain a 9-pin lead.
And one of the parts we always like of our telecast is an interview with the participants. We had 1 other titles, but why not on the winter tour?
Well, it just seems like the last half of the summer and the fall, when, you know, normal bowling season starts, I seem to bowl better. However, this winter I hope to turn around, bowl well this winter. Last year I bowled every single tournament, hopefully to get some knowledge of every house we bowl in. And this year, if I can show up 2 or 3 times, it'll be a real big bonus. And the more I bowl, well, I hope to bowl better, because I'd like to make the Tokyo trip in September.
All right, and he leaves a 10-pin on the left lane. This 30-year-old who's won in Windsor, Ontario, and the True Value Open in Indianapolis in 1985.
Takes a ball that doesn't hook as much. You can see it's much shinier, won't grab the lane surface, and to shoot the pins and the spares in the right-hand corner, this being the 10-pin, and Harold Sullivan should convert this with lead by 8.
Okay, nearing the halfway point of our first head-to-head match here and our first telecast of the 1988 season. We'll be back with more.
I left my heart in.
Recently, DuPont discovered people with great carpets had to make great saves. So DuPont developed certified Stainmaster carpet. Now, even if a stain like this sits for hours, it's a memory in minutes with DuPont Stainmaster. Sooner or later, you're going to need it. Stainmaster, only from DuPont.
AT&T comes through with an advanced telemarketing solution. When a trucker's down, he needs service fast. But where does he find help in the middle of nowhere? That's why Goodyear turned to AT&T. Now a trucker just calls 1-800 number to reach the nearest service outlet. So he can get back on the road in no time at all. And sometimes, even sooner. From equipment to networking, from computers to communications, AT&T is the right choice.
Yeah. Harry, Kalamazoo Tuesday, I can do that. Memphis Wednesday, I can do that. New York Thursday, I can do that. How am I going to do that?
No matter where you do business, Northwest can fly you there.
No, this is not the control panel of a jet plane. It's the system control of the remarkable Polaroid Spectra, the only camera system you can buy that lets you hold the picture in your hand while you still hold the feeling in your heart.
And here is the purse breakdown for the ARC Alameda Open. $18,000 to the winner, $9,500, $7,000, $5,500 for fourth. And the loser of the first game, which we're continue to watch now, will get $4,500. The winner, of course, advancing. And in today's case, either Mike Jasno or Harry Sullins will go against the president of the PBA, veteran Ernie Schlegel, then Walter Ray Williams Jr., and our tournament leader, Wayne Webb. Now with the spare up, shooting in the fourth frame, trailing by 8, Mike Jasnow. Wichita, Kansas. Second strike, Bo, the match for this collegian.
Jasnow's been around the pocket every shot. He hit a little bit high in the first frame, left the 9-pin, strike in the second, left the 10-pin in the third, has come back with a strike here in the fourth, and for the first time in the match, he can take the lead by making another strike here in the fifth frame. Trails by 8, could take a 2-pin lead.
He carefully gets onto the approach.
Jasnow with the semi-fingertip grip, uses those finger grippers in there, spreads his index finger, can take the lead with a shot.
A graduate in business management of Wichita State University takes the lead by 2. With a spare up now shooting in the fifth frame, Harry Sullins. From the Detroit area, and of course the great names, Fazio, Strampi, Joseph, so on down the line, and Harry'd like to become one of them.
Sullins, a fingertip grip where the fingers are just inserted to the first knuckle. Big turn.
And a 4-pin.
Doesn't get the break you look for. Normally, if you're going to get a good break, as he looks back in the stands, he would get look at the 2-pin, the 3rd pin on the left-hand part of the screen. It goes to the left sideboard. Normally, it'll take out the 4 and 7 pins. Sullins with that sharp hook, though, doesn't have as good a chance of taking out the 4-pin as, say, a down and in or line player is Ernie Schlegel or Walter Ray Williams Jr., our second-place man today.
Just to spare in the fifth frame for Sullins, who started with a double, but his opponent doubled in the fourth and fifth to take the lead. Now Harry, trailing by 3, moves to the left lane. We're at Mel's South Shore Bowl, right near the water, the bay, San Francisco, and, well, it's pretty nippy outside here.
Yeah, not the normal California weather. I think it was 47 degrees and a little drizzly, but inside the bowling center, it's always just
calm and peaceful and sunny as ever. One nice thing about bowling, you never get rained out.
Oh, a powerful strike by Sullivan. Big one in the 6th frame, but still leading by 3 and can increase it to 13 with a strike now. A double up for Mike Jazz now. Jazz now earlier, what opportunities did he get from being a great collegiate bowler at Wichita State?
It helped me mature a lot. Wichita State had a good program. That's why I went there. They still have a good program. In fact, they're ranked 1st in the nation now. And I think that's the best way to come out here on the Pro Tour. Get some experience and an education and have something to fall back on in case you don't like it out here.
And Chris, I'm sorry, but Wichita State is ranked #1, but the school that Harry Sullins goes to, Vincennes, is ranked 14th going into the start of the season.
And now the shocker has 4 in a row as we look at his brother and sister Jeanette and Tim.
Holiday greetings from Budweiser. The people who bring you Budweiser wish you and yours the very best of everything this holiday season.
Listen to the heartbeat.
Now Chevy announces $500 cash back on every new Chevy S10 pickup, every new '88 Chevy S10 Blazer, and advanced full-size Chevy CK pickup. $500 cash back. And that's on top of big savings on option packages. Your kind of Chevy, your kind of options. Plus $500 cash back. But hurry, time's limited.
The heartbeat of America. Chevrolet. That's today's Chevy truck.
You may not have thought of buying a Sears Die Hard battery until you've had a little time alone to think about it.
Yes, next right here, ABC Sports brings you the season premiere of Wide World of Sports. The Harlem Globetrotters displaying their court magic from West Berlin, plus the Athlete of the Year presentation. It all begins at 4:30 Eastern and Pacific, 3:30 Central, today on ABC Sports. And live from Alameda, California, Harry Sullins, who started out with a big bang, now trailing by 23, shooting in the 7th frame with a strike up. Needs one badly right here. A 10, Bo.
He just ripped the cover off that ball that time, and he expected to drive that 10 pin out. And one reason that you don't see the pros take the 10 out quite often, and here's the reason. The ball doesn't finish real tight in the pocket, and the 6 pin just lays down in the channel, doesn't take out the 10. A solid 10 would have been the 6 pin going around the top. What I'm saying, Chris, is that's what we use long oil on the tour instead of short oil used at home, and I'll explain that after this shot.
All right, came back up. Played the 10 nicely. That's fair.
Chris, American Bowling Congress regulations give a proprietor the option of either oiling the lanes way down the lane or what we call short oil. That means taking the conditioner placed on the lane down to just 24 feet. The PBA kind of goes by their own rules because we have so many pros bowling all day long that wear out the lanes, and today the lanes are oiled 48 feet. So you can imagine how slick they are, and that's the reason the ball doesn't carry the 10 pin every time.
8th frame. Tough break, leaving the 2 and sleeper 8. And of course, bowling ball manufacturers respond with all kinds of balls for all kinds of conditions, right?
You're right, Chris. As you see this ball just sliding by the head pin, not quite getting enough bite in there to knock out the 2 and 8 pins. And as you alluded to, if the lanes are very slick, the players will use a urethane bowling ball that bites the lane quite a bit. If the lanes are dry, they may change to some other kind of surface. But all 5 players today are using urethane to counteract the heavy oil condition.
Clean up to that point, it's an open in the 8th, giving him 153 through 8, trailing by 37. with a 4-bagger up. You're looking at Mike Jazz now. His opponent, Sullins.
Here's the example of the low surface friction on the lane. Sullins with that big hook cannot get the ball to bite at all and misses both the 2 and 8 pins. He's in real trouble. Jazz now in the driver's seat.
And another 10 on the right lane. Probably see quite a few spares today. But hopefully a 300 because True Value Hardware, Ed Langto, General Merchandising Manager, announcing again for a perfect game, True Value will present $100,000 in tow. It's doubled when we go to Peoria for the True Value Open.
$200,000, and we saw McCordick take home $100,000 last year. Now Jazz now in the driver's seat.
Here you see the money winners, the leaders in '87. Weber, Ballard, McCordick, Holman, and Walter Ray Williams Jr., who will be bowling soon here today, followed by Monticelli, Voss, Peterson, Wagner, and Ferraro.
Quite a lineup, all great players. They'll all be back this year.
Glad to see them making some money.
That's pretty good bucks, all close to 6 figures. Now, here's Jazz now in the lead by 36 pins.
And you know, we said earlier as we came on the air that over $3 million in purses go our Triple Crown. We have the $500,000 Seagram's Cooler United States Open, the $270,000 Trust Corp PBA National Championship, and of course Firestone, $250,000 total.
Average first prize close to $40,000. Sullins must strike or he's out of the match.
And a high hit.
3, 6, 9, 10.
Yeah.
If you survey the pros, they would probably say that this is the toughest spare for a pros to make. He has to shoot it down the left side, the right side of the lane, have the ball break in between the 3 and 9, and hopefully not chop the 6 off the 10. The best Sullins can do is a 2-0-3 game. Jazz now in the driver's seat has the match won.
Well done. Very professional shot, but coming much too late as that open frame in the 8th just did him in. But we'll be hearing more of Harry Sullins, a 30-year-old from Sterling Heights, Michigan.
Harry, another collegiate, as we talked about, started bowling at the age of 3. His parents took him to bowl in junior leagues at that time, went all the way through the junior program into college and out here on the pro tour. Quite a good player.
Another 10. So Mike Jazz now will go next against Ernie Schlegel. That coming up. The Professional Bowlers Tour is brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Johnson & Johnson, where quality products have been a tradition for generations. And by True Value Hardware Stores. It's more than our name. It's our way of doing business.
GM meets your challenge now.
If you ask me to dish out my hard-earned money on a new car, then you better show me some real quality that's
priced right.
GM meets your challenge with outstanding quality and great value. It's backed by the strongest warranty in GM history.
What about price?
Most popular GM cars and trucks equipped the way you want are priced lower in 1988. And right now you can more than double your savings on option packages on some of our best-selling cars.
That's leadership.
That's GM.
Pontiac's Big Value Blowout meets your challenge with big savings. Save up to $910 on specially equipped Grand Ams. Special savings are also available on most other Pontiacs. And Pontiac has even made it possible for your dealer to pass along savings of up to $775 on air-conditioned 6000s. Along with $900 savings on option packages, this could mean a total savings of up to $1,675. Only at Pontiac's Big Value Blowout.
On the Disney Sunday movie,
I've really been gone 8 years.
the key to this mystery lies beyond the stars. Flight of the Navigator, Sunday.
It's a special week on win, lose, or draw.
Okay, we're gonna play or we're gonna win. All right, roll that.
TV's top celebrity impersonators draw out the best in each other.
Come out, wherever you are.
Put 'em up.
Oh, Eliana.
Join Bert Convey and some real characters.
It's the greatest.
All this week on win, lose, or draw.
Monday at 4.
Between the hours of 9 a.m. Friday and 10 p.m. Monday, Glen Grant Chevrolet is having the biggest used car sale of the year. We have taken 100 trades and given them special prices. Any cars not sold may be taken to the wholesale auction. But before we wholesale them, we are giving you the opportunity to buy them. Remember, 100 cars at special prices. So if you are going to buy any car this year, don't miss this sale. Hurry today to Glen Grant Chevrolet in Berrien.
Date Rape, Sunday on Town Meeting at 6 on KOMO TV 4.
And here's the stepladder. You see Jazz Now 234, Sullins 191. Head-to-head competition, all of it here this week at Mel's South Shore Bowl, right on the bay in Northern California. Very pleasant establishment, as you can see. And we get ready now to go into our second match. The president of the PBA, Professional Bowlers Association, 44-year-old Ernie Schlegel, steps in to go against our first game winner, Mike Jasnow. Jasnow shooting first.
Ernie Schlegel, being the higher of the two finishers in the 42-game tournament leading up to the championship round, has decided to let Jasnow start. The higher finisher in each match during the tournament gets to pick the start or finish. So Jasnow starting.
He had 7 strikes in his victory over Harry Sullins. He left the 10-pin on the left lane first shot in his second match.
Once again, we see Jasnow's ball not quite finishing all the way through the pins. When you see the ball finish to the left of the 5-pin, then you know that it's solid in the pocket. When it deflects slightly to the right, as you saw that one, and go over out of the 9-pin spot, the ball isn't hitting the pins hard enough to consistently carry the 10-pin. Jasnow, cross lane.
Well done. Okay, now, Jasnow's second game opponent. Man of determination, 12 straight years without a win. Then he won in Kansas City in 1980. He has 4 titles, a write-in candidate to become president of the PBA. He has determination, this guy. Ernie Schlegel. And he tippy-toes off to the left, running it out. A nice little mixing action there for a strike.
Now watch the action of the head pin. It goes to the sideboard and takes out the 4, 5, and 7 pins. We saw the 7 pins stand for Harry Sullins, and it was the difference in the match. Here, Ernie Schlegel gets a real good start. As you see his profile, the medium-high swing, steady follow-through, and he loves it when you can carry that off head. Little body English, he's off with a strike.
Now in the left lane. Leaving the kingpin, the 5.
The difference in the pin action here compared to the first frame. Watch the head pin. It'll go to the sideboard, but won't come back through and take out the 4, 5, and 7 pins. And that's the reason that Ernie ends up with a fairly simple spare to make, but no strike. There's the head pin, went to the sideboard. It's taken out by the 4 pin. Not quite enough spin and power on the ball to consistently strike on that shot. But he's keeping it in play.
Ernie Schlegel making his 30th television appearance. 22 wins, 29 losses. 4 titles in 20 years, a member of the PBA. A 4-year member, Mike Jasnow, looking for his first victory. The professional tour. Won a lot in college. Opening with a spare, now striking the second from Jasnow.
Mike Jasnow, just a fun guy to be with. Chris, 2 years ago, I went out to dinner with him in Milwaukee. We went down to this little bowling center called the Holler House, which are the oldest lanes and sanctioned in the United States. And Mike Jasnow even went so far as to go down and set pins. They still have the old machines where you can set pins, and he really had a good time. So Mike's got some overall experience and just a fun guy. Now,
Tim on the right, his brother and sister. He has another sister in New York City that gave birth to a baby girl on Christmas Day, and is Uncle Mike happy about that?
The action over here, what a great break as the pins come from the right-hand part of your screen over in to take out the 4-pin. There's the head pin, goes to the sideboard. It's buried over in the corner. Something comes out of the pit, taps out the 4-pin. Chris, that's similar to the strike that Jim Stefanich threw on the 12th ball to get that 300 game in 1974. Amazing break.
And right here, now Schlegel. All right, 3 frames, 2 strikes. Schlegel, what does he attribute his longevity to?
Well, I've been working out for 15 years. I never stop working out, and I try to stay in the best shape I can. And I'm involved in a lot of businesses, and that keeps my interest to bowl because I have to be out here anyway, and I like making money.
And like a lot of us, he has a working partner, his wife, Catherine.
Some of the businesses he's in, Chris, you see those grippers in the ball. Ernie puts the grips in most of the balls for the pros out here. He's involved in that, has his own bowling ball company, and he's just kind of a walking commercial, but he does a good job as a great player over a long period of time. He needs a strike right here to even the match.
The 44-year-old professional from Vancouver, USA, will be back.
For 15 seconds, think about something you never think about. Toothbrushes. The Reach toothbrush can get your teeth 51% cleaner than the other leading brush. The Reach Dental Angle cleans even back teeth better. Reach. Just think. 51% cleaner teeth. For 15 seconds, think about something you never think about. Toothbrushes. Reach has 2 sets of bristles to clean 51% cleaner than the other leading brush. Reach's long bristles clean along gums. Short bristles clean tooth surfaces. Reach. 51% cleaner teeth.
Okay, life insurance. Whose policies have made more money out of the top company? Northwestern Mutual Life. So who was number 1 in 85? Huh? Okay, 5 years ago. 10, 20, 50. Wow. If they've done that well in the past, who should I buy from in the future? Guess I didn't need a computer to figure that out. I'll give one of their agents a call.
How sweet it is. The Clown Princes of Basketball are back. The Harlem Globetrotters tip off the season premiere of ABC's Wide World of Sports. Next.
All right, we're back again at Mel's South Shore Bowl, Alameda, California, not far from the city by the bay, San Francisco. Mike Jasnow, who won the first game over Harry Sullins, 234 to 191, has a double up shooting in the 4th frame. And he leads by 10.
This is the best Mike Jasnow has looked in his stint out here on the Professional Bowlers Tour. He's always been a little bit shaky in the championship round. I remember at the King Louis a couple of times, he just about handed the tournament to his opponents. Right here, he is very aggressive, very tough, and very steady. He keeps keeping every ball in play, not trying to overpower it. And Schlegel, in order to stay in this match, is going to have a stellar performance. Jasnow leads by 10, has 3 strikes in a row. With a 4th strike, he would lead by 20, 5th frame.
Well, he's done it again, stringing 4s. He did in the first match. Total of 7 strikes then. So, trying to accept the challenge now will be Ernie Schlegel. He has a double up, shooting in the 5th frame. Great match, Bo.
Yes, it is, Chris. And here's a great match game player. We talk about Ernie with a man from the old school. He bowled match games long before his appearance on the PBA Tour, as well known through the East Coast as being one of the most feared match game players, especially in the Paramus area. He was always tough. Now,
right.
let's see what he does in this situation. He trails by 20.
Nearly got them all but the 6. Disgusted.
Right through the middle, he gets a good break. He almost leaves the 4-6. And he breaks down the 10 pin, so he ends up with a simple spare. Once again, he knows it's bad. Goes through the shot, pulls it, and he covers the spare.
All right. Ernie has been known to talk when he's out there competing, either to himself or making comments to people as he passes them by.
Well, he was talking to a paper cup that's sitting on the ball tray turned right next to him. You know, Chris, there's an old saying that my dad always had, that the follow-through is an extension of a bowler's intention. And if you watch Ernie Schlegel's follow-through, you'll know if he really had the right attitude when he let it go. Right straight through that one.
All but the 7. And, Bo, would you repeat the other Hall of Fame Burton member, Nelson Burton Sr., what he told you? One more time.
All right, as you see the wall shot here, Ernie Schlegel, and my dad always said it, and it's a good tip to people remember, that the follow-through is an extension of a bowler's intention, and I think he meant by how he released the ball, and that means keep it in line, go directly towards your target.
Okay, and on our weekly tip of the week, what is it today, Mr. Burton?
The tip of the week, Chris, is just a little bit of refresher on the scoring system with the automatic scores proliferating to the extent they do. We've found that some people are struggling with that. Plus, give me a little tip on how we project the score on the Pro Bowlers Tour, and that's basically that we project a player will get 20 each frame. That's in order to keep the match play style up to par.
And Mike Jasnow has 5 in a row here in the second match, winning the first over Harry Sellens, 234 to 191, and really turning the screw here in the second match against Schlegel.
This is the 87 average leader for more than 30 tournaments. Marshall Holman, Pete Weber, Ferraro, a name that you're going to hear a lot of. Brian Voss had a great year. Albee, some of the players we talked about. Walter Ray Williams Jr., Ozio Roth, Rowdy Morrow, and the big cranker from Florida, Tom Milton. So here's Jasnow, 5 strikes in a row. 6 in a row would have a 42-pin lead. 7th frame.
And what action on that ball. Wow. More later.
My dandruff shampoo is good.
Maybe you should try something else. My dandruff shampoo really works.
Maybe you should try something else, like Selsun Blue. Doctors and pharmacists recommend Selsun Blue more than all other leading brands combined. What that means to you is no leading brand gets rid of dandruff better than Selsun Blue. It's #1.
And all Selsun Blue formulas, including extra conditioning and extra medicated, have the ingredient recommended most by doctors.
A tradition of horsepower. For the second consecutive year, Budweiser racing teams captured 3 national championships. Bobby Rahal in the Bud IndyCar. Kenny Bernstein in the Budweiser King. And Jim Kropfeld in Miss Budweiser. It's a tradition of horsepower that keeps Budweiser ahead of the pack. Racing fans,
Bowling's High Rollers head to Las Vegas for the $175,000 Showboat Invitational. Next Saturday on ABC's Professional Bowlers Tour.
Our host here in the Bay Area, Bob Feuchter, president of the ARC Recreation Centers. Mel's South Shore Bowl is one of the many. Okay. Ernie Schlegel with a spare up shooting in the 7th. Down by 42 pins. And didn't like the way he stopped at the line, leaving the 4.
Ernie's struggling a bit. He's been around the pocket, and that's really a credit to Ernie Schlegel, not beating himself as he quickly goes into spare. He trails by 43 pins.
Okay, next week, $175,000 Showboat Invitational, a different time, 4:30 Eastern and Pacific, 3:30 Central. Then Torrance, California, where we had the 300 game last year, followed by the Quaker State Open in friendly Grand Prairie, Texas. And then, aren't we glad to go back to the New Orleans area? Don Carter Greater New Orleans Classic.
Schlegel, 8th frame, trails by 43. Must get it going right here.
Styles change. Ernie Schlegel used tech all the time, permissible. Now a much faster bowler. This is a man that sets himself carefully and then pulls the trigger. A 7-bagger for Mike Jazz now. Very warm smile. I know his mom watching in Fishkill, New York. That's between Albany and New York City. I guess that's the best way to describe it.
Upstate, he says. As you see Jazz now, a spare in the first frame. He left the 10 pin, or he'd had a all so far, and has a possible 290 game if he strikes 4 more times. Right now, he has Schlegel on the ropes, can put him away permanently with another strike.
What a performance here in the second game. And the challenge will be in the next match against Walter Ray Williams, bowler of the year in '86, possibly in '87 as well.
Look at the concentration. Never moves his eyes as he releases the ball. His head's nice and steady. He just knows it's there. He's in what we call in the Pro Tour dead stroke. Schlegel's still performing well. He can still shoot a 237 game, but that's not going to be enough to defeat Jazz now today.
Powerful Schlegel strike from the right lane.
One thing we talked about earlier is that the PBA has oiled or conditioned the lanes at a distance of 48 feet past the foul line. And, Chris, that'll make the lanes probably more consistent for a longer period of time, so it'll maybe allow a player like Jazz now to make his move from fourth all the way through first. And I think that this pair is so evenly matched is one of the reasons we've always seen such high scores. The left lane hooks about the same as the right lane, and with that in mind, the players don't have to make many adjustments.
So we have a winner in Mike Jazz now, winning his second match. He'll face Walter Ray Williams. Let's go to our professional bowlers tip of the week with Nelson Burton Jr. This tip of the week is brought to you by the makers of Old Spice, Speed Stick Deodorant, and Solid Antiperspirant.
With the proliferation of the automatic score, I've noticed that some players simply do not know how to keep score or have forgotten. With this in mind, we have a little refresher course to help you with your bowling scoring. First, a strike is scored when all 10 pins are knocked down in the first shot. The value is 10 plus the value of the next 2 balls, a potential maximum of 30 points if you get 3 strikes in a row. When you knock down all 10 pins with 2 shots, this is a spare. For the spare, you are given 10 points for the value of the pins you have knocked down, plus the value of the next shot. The maximum here would be 20 points for a spare, followed by a strike. There are other situations that occur, such as splits, unconverted spares, such as you see in the fourth frame here, 7 and 2 knockdown, and the arid ball that you may toss in the channel. But what is important to remember is that you will score points equal to the number of pins knocked down. This should help you with your scoring in your league play or during open play. And finally, on the Pro Bowlers Tour, here's how we figure the score. If a player has a strike up, we give him a spare or figure he's going to get a spare in the next frame. If he has a spare up, we figure a strike. That helps keep you abreast of the match play action.
Fix problems. Improve strategy. Practice smarter with Bo Burton's new bowling video.
This video is for you.
ABC Sports and Old Spice bring you Bo Burton's new instructional video, Score More. Just $24.98 plus $3 shipping. Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR. That's 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
It's more effective than the leading men's deodorant. It's been proven better in clinical tests at blocking odor. It's Old Spice Fast Track Wide Deodorant. It blocks odor better.
Well, with 8 strikes in a row and then sort of faltering in the last couple of shots, nevertheless, Mike Jazz now defeated Schlegel 263 to 216. Now he goes against one of the most colorful of all bowlers. I call him the riverboat gambler, Walter Ray Williams. He deserves an up-close and personal treatment right here. Millions of fans have watched Walter Ray Williams become one of the dominant bowlers on the Professional Bowlers Tour. In 1986, he started his climb, winning the first of 5 titles he now owns, as well as being named Bowler of the Year in 1986. But Walter Ray has the additional achievement of being a world-class performer in another, maybe not so well-known sport.
I started playing horseshoes when I was 9, and it was kind of a family thing that our family did. And when I finally learned the game, I went out and practiced very hard. Within a year, I was one of the top junior players in the world, finishing second when I was 10.
A 3-time world junior and 4-time world champion in which he averages over 85% ringers, Walter Ray used the similarities of the sports to his advantage.
The underhand arm swing, the eye-hand coordination are needed in both sports. And the accuracy, obviously, I think is one of the reasons I became a good bowler from pitching horseshoes. I think they complement each other, and it's one reason I'm able to play both games without playing them excessively. I don't practice a whole lot of horseshoes or bowling, but I play enough just to basically keep me in touch and play halfway decent.
Long after Walter Ray Williams leaves the professional bowlers tour, he envisions himself still in competition in horseshoes.
The average age of a horseshoe player is probably in his mid-40s, almost 50 years of age. This year I finished 5th in the World Tournament, and a gentleman that was 69 finished 6th. So I figure I've got another 40 years, hopefully.
All of 28 years of age. He finished 5th, incidentally, in the World Championship last year. Next Saturday on ABC Sports, the Professional Bowlers Tour will be seen at a special time. Bowling's Best squaring off for the $175,000 Showboat Invitational from Las Vegas. This event will be seen live except on the West Coast. It all begins at a special time, 4:30 Eastern Pacific, 3:30 Central. That's next Saturday on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Chris, and you know, Walter talked about it being a family game, horseshoes. He is one of 7 children, and they're all pretty good horseshoe players. And his mom is the one that really got him bowling. His mom, he told me, has a 117 average. So really a family group.
Okay, and one of his brothers, Jonathan, is here watching.
I'll tell you what, there's a fear element in every sport. And when you bowl Walter Ray Williams Jr., you feel it on the approach. Let's see if it affects Mike Jazz now. He's just run over 2 opponents very easily, but he's going against the best right now in Walter Ray Williams Jr., a very tough match game player. Jazz now has his work cut out for him.
And he leaves a Mark Roth, 7-10 here at Mel's South Shore Bowl.
You're right, Chris. Roth picked this 7-10, and here's how Roth picked up the 7-10 split is the ball cuts through the pins, and you see the 2 pins left there. Roth hit the 10 pin over here and bounced it out into the 7 pin. So that's the way Jazz now will have to go at it. Bounce the 10 into the 7.
To no avail. So after a big 263-216 victory in his second win, he has an open frame, and here he is, Walter Ray Williams Jr., the 1986 Player of the Year. High in ranking to win another one, as is Pete Weber and Marshall Holman. Mix it up. A strike.
You want to see the most versatile player, I feel, on the Professional Bowlers Tour today. Watch this man's style. 5-step delivery, medium-high arm swing. He can throw the ball straight as an arrow if he wants to, or he can hook it with the big boys, and he knows when to use them. And today he's using his straight shot, hardly any hook at all. A shot very similar to what Ernie Schlegel played. Let's see how it works. He leads in the match by 11 pins.
Well, it's a double for Williams in his 17th television appearance with a record of 17 wins, 11 losses. But more important, a 226 average.
Whew. All right, Mike Jazz, now settle down. You're a good, sharp player. Don't let that 7-10 bother you. Don't let that double of Walter Ray Williams bother you. And bowl your best game. Give him a match. We'll see. Excellent shot by Jazz now there in the second frame. And here is the key shot in the early going. Jazz now with that disastrous 7-10 split in the first frame has fallen in arrears by 21. But he can cut that lead of Walter Ray's down to 11. You don't want Walter Ray Williams Jr. up there with a 21 or 30 pin lead here early in the match. So Jazz now, big shot, keep some pressure on the bowler of the year, Walter Ray Williams Jr.
Beautiful response by the 25-year-old. Doubling. And with the double up in the first 2 frames, Walter Ray Williams, 6'2", 180 pounds.
Notice Jazz now kind of put a little aggressive move on Walter Ray Williams, Jr. You got to make Walter Ray aware that you're there. He's too tough to let him just bowl out there by himself.
We asked Walter, what's his strong point to keep you on top of the pack? What does it?
Well, I think my strong point to keep me at the top of the pack is to be able to change lane conditions and adapt my game to play those lane conditions correctly. Sometimes I don't do it all the time right, but most of the time I seem to do it pretty well.
And he's done it or changed his game or adopted it to the lane conditions week to week better than anybody the last couple of years. Going for 4 in a row.
And pesky 4-pin on the left lane.
Walter Ray with that straight shot gives him a little more margin of error on this type of lane condition. You see the ball drifting slightly high, 2-pin to the sideboard, doesn't take out both the 4 and 7s, leaves the easy spare, the 4-pin. Walter Ray Williams Jr. with this conversion would have a 20-pin lead.
Walter Ray going for his 6th PBA title, 8 years a professional, member of the PBA. We'll be back.
For great personal service and low everyday prices, check the lineup at your neighborhood True Value hardware store. Where the January bargain of the month is the Taylor 6-inch dial window thermometer. The bold numerals tell you the outdoor temperature, and the adjustable bracket makes it easy to install. In January, get the Taylor 6-inch dial window thermometer for just $1.69, where you see the banner at participating True Value hardware store.
When you look through a Minolta Maxim, any picture you can imagine is possible. Minolta, the leader in SLR technology, with more autofocus lenses, more autofocus zooms, to help you capture more of the action. You and Minolta Maxim bring creativity to life. Maxim, the ultimate system.
Only from the mind of Minolta.
How sweet it is. The Clown Princes of Basketball are back. The Harlem Globetrotters tip off the season premiere of ABC's Wide World of Sports. Next.
Here is the tournament leader, Wayne Webb, a 16-time PBA champion, 1980 Player of the Year, a tough competitor. He will meet the winner of the match we're watching now between Mike Jasnow, who has won the first 2 games, but he's in against Walter Ray Williams. But Jasnow has a double-up shooting in the 4th frame. He can cut the lead of Williams to 10 with a strike here. Another 4.
Very subtle lane change, and this is a good point for league bowlers to pick up on. We bowled almost 1 hour on the championship pair, and they change and start to hook just a little bit more, and that's what happens is the ball starts drifting a little high. All Mike has to do is make a simple 1-board move to the left on the approach. You always move the direction that you're missing to the left, and he'll be right back in the pocket.
Unfortunately, with an open frame in the first, if you just joined us, the winner of the first 2 games, Jasnow, then doubling and a spare in the 4th, as you see. 21 pins, trailing Williams at this point.
Jasnow, very active with the Big Brothers charities in Wichita, as usually garners a number of bowlers after the King Louis Open, and they usually travel down there from Kansas City to Wichita to put on some exhibitions. So you people in that area look forward to it this year. Here's Jasnow, 5th frame.
And gets a 4 on the left lane.
The championship pair, we said it's a pretty much matched pair, very similar to the pair that Pete McCordick bowled that 300 game on, and will once again be using in the AC Delco Classic down in the Torrance area. And what Jasnow has to do is 2 things. If you're going high, you do 2 things. Either throw the ball a little bit harder or move a board or so to the left on the approach. Let's see if Jasnow can make that movement in the next few frames.
And now a magical professional, Walter Ray Williams, Jr. Speaking of magical, so are the Harlem Globetrotters next on Wide World both. They're sensational to watch.
They are trying to defeat the Washington Generals for the 17th consecutive time. Walter Ray Williams, Jr., fingertip grip here in the 5th frame.
Going Roy opened with 3, marked with a spare, now a strike in the 5th frame.
It's so refreshing to see the styles of a player like Ernie Schlegel, Walter Ray Williams Jr., Mike Jazz. Now, they're lifetime styles, Chris. They learn how to play the lanes. They use angle and speed as we teach in the bowling industry how to adjust. And they'll be good players for many, many years. They're not depending on power. They're depending on a tender blend of power and accuracy.
Double for Walter Ray. And in that same category, the man that lost the first match, Harry Sullins, will be one that we'll hear a lot from in the future, too.
Harry Sullins has a power ball, and his ball would work well on a shot like this where the head pin goes to sideboard, drives out to 4, 5, and 7s. Walter Ray, 32-pin lead, 6th frame, but don't count Jazz now out. Now we see that head pin doing some work as Jazz now finally trips out the 4-pin. He left the 4 in the 4th frame, the 4 in the 5th frame. Finally had that head pin go to the sideboard and do the job on the 4-7 zone. And now he only trails by 32, but with another strike would cut that lead to 22. As you look at his sister, anxiously looking on.
Double for Jazz now. Trailing now by 22 pins against Walter Ray Williams.
You want anything?
How about a light? Oh. Whoa.
Oh, Bob. Could you make that a Bud Light?
If you want the great taste of Bud Light, ask for it. Did you see?
No. Did you?
No. Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
And let's tackle Tim Daniels' first leading score.
There's only one camera system you can buy that lets you hold the picture in your hand while you still hold the feeling in your heart. The Polaroid Spectra system.
There's a new stonewashed jean made for a man after his work is done. American Hero Jeans from Wrangler, a proud sponsor of ABC's coverage of America's Olympic heroes.
60,000 roar, and the arena comes alive. You're representing your country in the ultimate athletic competition. The pageantry, the spectacle, the unparalleled history. The Olympic tradition continues beginning February 13th on ABC Sports.
And another young tradition on the Professional Bowlers Tour, Ask Bo. Send your questions to Post Office Box 217, Ansonia Station, New York, New York, 10023. Walter Ray Williams. Double up. Time to punt.
Well, discouraged Walter Ray Williams Jr., he was going to take a 32-pin lead with this strike. And here's what he has to do as he leaves the 4-9 split. He needs to get the ball over in the left-hand zone, right in here, and slide this 4-pin over into the 9-pin and keep the pressure on Jazz now. Bad break for Williams, but let's see if he can convert the spare. Counting off the boards.
Notice how he collects his thoughts. All you professionals do. You just sort of take time out.
Walter also very calculated, a physics major in college. He's trying to figure out exactly how many boards to move to make this split.
And his nickname, Jedi, sort of letting him down on that shot with an open. And he has his brother Jonathan here on the left and his lady friend, Paige Pennington.
Paige, by the way, just graduated from college. I was on a exhibition tour with Walter Ray Williams Jr. just 2 weeks ago, and I remember him talking to her on the phone saying, hey, she just got out of school, so things are going his way. Walter leads by 8, 8th frame.
Well,
uncharacteristic of Walter Ray Williams Jr. as he grabs another ball. He's going to quickly go on the approach. What he's going to try to do is just bounce that 4-pin over out of or 6-pin over and into the 4-pin. Let's see if he can do it.
Practically unheard of. With back-to-back open frames, giving Walter 164 through the 8th. And it gives Mike Jasnow a 3-pin lead with a double up. To go up 13.
Chris, he's made that adjustment on the approach on both lanes. He's moved farther left on the approach, giving the ball more room to break at the back end, and after coming off 4-pin in the 4th, 4-pin in the 5th, a trip 4 in the 6th, he's ripped the rack in the 7th and 8th frames, as you see the ball action here hitting the 1-3, slicing the 5 over into the 4-7. He definitely hurt those pins that time. In command, leads by 13, but the match is not over. The tough Walter Ray Williams Jr. sitting on the bench with 2 frames left to go. Anybody can win.
Pressure shot, stringing 4. Mike Jasnow, who strung 8 in the previous game, a victory over Schlegel, 263 to 216.
Jasnow's buying a shot today. Solid in the pocket. He's put the pressure on Walter Ray Williams Jr., who is trailing by 23, but can still win the match.
Just sliding by the pocket.
We talked about Walter Ray Williams Jr.'s ability to adjust. You remember he left that 4-9 split there in the 7th frame, so he made the adjustment for that split, leaving the 2-pin here, didn't get the proper reaction. The best Walter can roll now is a 2-14 game. If he strikes in the 10th, 11th, and 12th frames, his last 3 shots, he would finish with 2-14 and force Mike Jasnow to get a mark to win the match. Walter must strike.
Breaking up the bucket, knocking the 8 out, leaving the 2-4-5. The man who in '86 won $145,000. Last year, $143,000. Covering the 2-4-5. Walter Ray Williams.
Best Walter can end up with is 2-0-1, a 201 game. Jasnow sailing along at a 220 plus pace, has this match well in hand if he just stays behind the foul line.
201 for the great champion Walter Ray Williams Jr. from Stockton, California. Now with 4 in a row, shooting in the 10th frame on the right lane, Mike Jasnow. A little speed on the right lane, and Mike Jasnow of Wichita has won his 3rd match, will go into the final against many-time champion Wayne Webb. After this.
Tums is one antacid that can really handle heartburn. It's a lot stronger than the #2 brand.
That's one good reason we use Tums. And Tums happens to be rich in calcium.
That's the second good reason.
You may not have thought of buying a Sears Die-Hard battery until you've had a little time alone to think about it.
It took 2,000 years, but a revolutionary discovery is changing the way men think about coloring their gray hair. It's called Just for Men, from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men, and in 5 minutes, shampoo out. Your gray is blended away, leaving your natural-looking color. 5 minutes. Here, look at me. Just for Men leaves your hair looking healthy and fuller, and it won't fade or wash out. Just for Men, in the men's hair care section.
Take a look at this.
Blackmail.
I know you want that book as much as I do.
Betrayal.
You're gonna kill Spencer for me whether you like it or not.
Spencer for hire, Sunday.
Christmas isn't over yet, Seattle. Till Monday at Sound Import stores, you can still get 8.7% financing. 8.7 on top of clearance prices on every new Toyota, Mazda, Suzuki, Subaru, even Hyundais.
For example, at Auburn Subaru, one new Justy, sale priced at $56.42. $114 a month, $87 down. Or one 4x4 3-door, $189 a month, $87 down.
Don't miss year-end clearance prices, plus 8.7% financing. Happening now at all Sound Import stores.
There's something to cheer about tonight on Frontrunners. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Poole, and this is Seagal Dawn Gray. She kicks up her heels on the sidelines. And watch out. Off the field, she's still kicking with a black belt in karate. Then take off with the pilot who gets his kicks at 3,500 feet. See why he's wild about the wilds of Alaska on Frontrunners tonight at 7:30, right after Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune, tonight at 7 on Como TV4.
A former collegiate All-American, twice as a matter of fact, from Wichita, Mike Jasnow has won 3 matches. Look at the scores: 234, 263, 235, 7 strikes in the first, 8 in the second, 7 again in the third, and now goes against 30-year-old Wayne Webb. And this was the size of the field this week.
145, unusual, Chris. Just didn't fill because of the holidays. Average of the total field, 200. 208 to make the top 24. 48th place cash took a 200 average. It was $850, or $805 was the last spot in the cash. John Mazda guarded that spot. As we see some of the other top 24 finishers, Carlson and Rourke tied for 6th and 7th. Miller, Mark Baker, strong as ever. Steady Murdershaw. Alan Johnson, new game up there. Powerful Jim Pensick. Bill Cooley, I like that name. Tony Westlake, good action player. Ray Perez, off to a good year. Purvis Granger, Chuck McGavro, always up there. The qualifying leader for 18 games. Salvemini, Rick Steelsmith, the man I talked about early in the show. Malacosta, Dale Eagle, a tie for 22nd and 3rd. And Rosenberg rounds out the top 24.
And what a view in the background, the bay. And right now, live here at Mel South Shore Bowl, the tournament leader on the left. 5'5" and tough. Wayne Webb going against the winner of 3 matches today, Mike Jasnow.
You should have seen the look that Wayne Webb gave Mike Jasnow as he came over to take his practice balls while we were running through the top 24. He put the mean look on Jasnow, trying to psych him out. Let's see what happens. Championship match.
Off and winging. And now look at Wayne Webb, 13-year PBA member with 16 titles. His 52nd television appearance. And in all those appearances, he's averaged 216. The 1980 Firestone Tournament of Champions winner. All but the 9.
Holy cow, he drove right through the heart of the pins with that power ball, and such an unusual leave. As you see Wayne Webb's style, little 5-step deliveries. Short of stature, drives through with tremendous power. He likes the shot, but he won't like the result. Oh, what happened? Are you kidding me? A 9-pin on that hit? What a way to start.
Unusual stylist Wayne Webb marking with a spare in the first frame.
Wayne Webb started bowling at the tender age of 3, not only 10 pins, but duck pins. He's from that Massachusetts area, Chris, where they still have duck pins.
Mm-hmm.
Turned pro at 18, won $90 his first year. He's come a long way, as they say.
Born in the tranquil town of Rehoboth, Mass. Nothing tranquil about that shot. Strike in the second for our tournament leader, Wayne Webb. Harlem Globetrotters in West Berlin next on Wide World of Sports. Athlete of the Year, award announced, and an interview with 3 great skating ladies in the United States. So Jasnow has opened with a double. He is on today.
Mike Jasnow puts the pro move on the ball, snaps that wrist through, and just rips the 5-pin right over into the 4-7 areas. Wayne Webb makes him a little uncomfortable when you see an opponent be able to hit light like that, and that's a very confident move when a pro will send it wide and just snap out the 5. So Wayne Webb is a little bit uneasy as Jazz now has a 10-pin lead, could extend to 20 in the early going, has never won a title before, has not qualified for the Firestone Tournament of Champions.
3 in a row. The man who had 22 strikes coming into this championship match. Jazz now. Okay, Webb. Open with a spare. Strike in the second. Shooting in the third. Wayne's wife, Travis Webb, watching.
Quite a good bowler in her own right. Excellent player. Above 180 average is always helping Wayne with his game.
Double for the 16-time champion. Okay, we talked to Wayne about his slump and how he finally got out of it.
Well, in 86, 87, my physical game got real bad. My mental game went along with it, and I think that was the biggest problem. The physical game started to come back after a lot of hard work, and now my mental game is real sharp.
And his physical game is the ability to throw the ball straight when it calls for it, as he is today, and to hook it a lot when that calls for it. So Webb's back on his game, can even this match.
3 in a row. And talking about his slump, he had not won since 85, back-to-back at Milwaukee and Baltimore.
Well, you're the kind of man that likes to do things your own way. And you can bet it's right when you get through. Ooh. And there's a beer that always fits right in your hand. 'Cause you're a bad man. This bud's for you. Oh, you do. This bud's for you.
Ace is the place.
Hey, Gene, can you give me a hand here?
Be right with you, John.
Thanks. Let me tell you, Jean's my favorite helpful hardware person. She knows everything. How to fix stuff, what tools to use, the right kind of paint to buy. Hey, there's nothing she doesn't know.
So how can I help you today, John?
I just got a couple jobs.
Well, nothing we can't handle. Let's start with the toggle bolt.
Toggle bolts?
Ace is the place.
She knows just what to do and how to do it. Hey, let me tell you, Ace is the place for me.
Bowling's High Rollers head to Las Vegas for the $175,000 Showboat Invitational. Next Saturday on ABC's Professional Bowlers Tour.
All right, this is Mel's South Shore Bowl, and what a day it's been for the man at whose back we're looking, 25-year-old Mike Jazz now, a 2-time college All-American at Wichita State, who has won 3 games now. He has a chance for the $18,000 first prize, but more important, his first professional victory. 3 in a row, 4th frame.
Is he bowling, Chris? I'll tell you, Wayne Webb just walked up there and threw 3 balls as pretty as you could be, and Jazz now has just answered that pressure with just a sawball. Look at that 5-pin. See you later. Head pin back in action, everything. That collegiate has it all, Chris.
And we mentioned the men's ranking collegiate bowlers. I want to give the women's. Indiana State University, #1. Penn State, 2nd. West Texas State, 3rd. And Wichita State University, 4th in the women's college ranking. 5 in a row. And Webb is up with a 3-bagger, but still trailing by 20.
If you've never seen a professional bowlers tournament in person, for the people that are in the next 15 cities that we're going to on ABC this year, come down and watch how great these guys really bowl. It's just amazing. They are terrific. Here's Wayne Webb.
All right, make it 4 in a row. And remember, it was Wayne Webb that almost a year ago was in the match, losing to Pete McCordick as McCordick bowled a historic 300. Webb shot a 249.
So Webb brings out the best of them. And right now, Webb can even the match out.
Leaving the 3-6 on the left wing after stringing 4.
Chris, going back to the way these pros are bowling, unless you've come down to a pro tournament and see how much power they get on the ball, you really don't appreciate it sitting at home. I remember the first time I saw a pro golfer, I remember Duke Nichols hit a shot out of the fairway onto a green. And just the amount of power he could put on that ball was amazing. That's what separates the pros from the amateurs. So enjoy the Pro Tour as Webb converts the 3-6.
All right. Now, getting ready to shoot in the 6th frame with a 5-bagger is Mike Jasnow. Halfway to a $100,000 true value bonus. 6 frames, 6 strikes.
Watch the action of the head pin. He comes in light, almost leaves that 7-10 split that he started out against Walter Ray Williams Jr. with. The head pin comes sliding by, knocks out the 10. He's halfway, as you said, Chris, to a perfect game, $100,000 bonus. And a statistician, Palmer Falgren, has put up Jasnow is averaging .244 for his first 3 games, and it can only get better.
It ends with a 7-pin on the left lane. Nevertheless, we hope it excited you as it did the capacity crowd here, including Sister Jeanette and Brother Tim.
The action of the head pin goes to the sideboard, and the frame before it came all the way out and knocked the 10-pin out. Here it just barely misses the 7-pin, and he string ends at 6 strikes in a row. That's a hit a pro can carry quite often, but not to be here in the 7th frame.
All right. And now Wayne Webb is up, trailing by 21. He has a spare working, shooting in the 7th frame of this final and championship game. Good shot. So was his stroke. Carol Letty, our producer today, and our director, Larry Cam, going to take a leave because he's busy with the Super Bowl coming up later here on ABC, and then we'll be joined by director Bill Webb, producer Peter Lasser, and director Jim Jeanette.
As you've seen Wayne Webb drill all 10 pins in the pit in the 7th frame, coming up in the 8th. He trails by 21. He put a little bit of rosin on his thumb. Key shot right here in the match. He can cut the lead down to 11 and be right in it.
Well, it's games like this that have stimulated my interest for 27 years on this series, and of course you were in on a lot of the games, just as we're having here a tremendous match.
Well, Chris, thank you very much, and of course you've contributed to the pros, and they appreciate your commentary. As you've seen Wayne Webb coolly throw that ball into the pocket in the 8th frame, he only trails by 11. Jasnow started with 6 in a row. Coming up in the 7th frame, he left the 7-pin, now the 8th.
Incredible afternoon for the non-winner, Mike Jasnow. Great performance by his opponent here in the final game.
Jasnow's eyes. Here's a young man who's just kept it all together, but this is the shot that will tell the story, Chris. He's breathing hard out there. The pressure, he can feel it. You can almost see his heartbeat from right here. He needs this strike to keep real strong pressure on a proven champion, Wayne Webb.
Talk about skill and talent, these professionals. A 10.
Solid 10. Everything was perfect except the reaction of the ball against the pins. He's topped that ball a little bit, but got it right along the target line. Leaves a solid 10-pin, the 6-pin, the 2nd pin on the right-hand part of your screen. Airmails right around the 10-pin and has left this match up for grabs. Neither player has an advantage as of right now.
Nicely. 10-point accuracy by Jasnow. And a former colleague, Lee Grosskopf, a great quarterback in college and professional football, watching this match with us, lives nearby.
Wayne Webb to cut the lead of Jazz now to 1.
What excitement here at Mel's South Shore Bowl in Alameda, California. 1 pin.
Well, the pros are starting out the 88 season just as we predicted at the top of the championship round, Chris. Great action, great scoring, and you just can't throw it any better than that. Now, Wayne Webb to take the lead for the first time in the match. He trails by 1 pin, 10th frame.
Then a 3-10.
Wayne Webb, he leaves the 3-10 split, softens up a little bit as the ball goes right through the center. And what he does, he leaves the 3 and 10 pins. He has to get the ball right in there to convert this split, and he can still win the match, but it would do him good to make the 3-10 split. He has a possible 2:46. Jazz now working at a 2:49 pace. It's still up for grabs.
Perfection.
Pin count, how important it is. Webb in the 240s, but the best he can do is you see him convert the 310 or baby split as we call it. The best he can do is 246. He would force Jazz now to fill at least 18 pins in the 10th frame if he can strike on this ball. We still have a possibility of a tie match.
What a performance by Wayne Webb. You know, he finished the year last year with a 3rd place finish in the Tournament Players Championship. So he's starting out here in 88 as the tournament leader and a chance. 246. Now, Jazz now.
Jazz now never has won a pro tournament. Needs to fill 18 pins. Chris, the break you talked about Jim Stefanich getting in 1974 on that very lane to win the 300 game and $10,000. Jazz now has gotten that same break twice today. He throws the ball up real high, and they were just looking down on him. He's just about got it all locked up. He needs to knock down 8 pins in 2 balls. No problem for a new champion, Mike Jazz now.
And for Wayne Webb, he was on the losing end of the 300 game about a year ago in Southern California. 300 to 249. He shoots a 246 today, Bo. Now you want to stay out of this state.
Well, that's for sure. But Wayne Webb, believe me, he'll be back. He's bowling as well as anybody. You keep shooting those 240s, you're going to win a lot of matches. But credit great new champion, Mike Jazz now.
And Sister Jeanette is out on the approach. Look at that. And there's Tim. 259. He had 32 strikes in his victories today. Mike Jazz now winning his first professional title, all coming in Northern California, Alameda. 259 to 246. We hope you enjoyed the 4 matches we had today. They have been so exciting, and to go from the number 5 position to the very top is a credit to this 25-year-old. We'll be back.